Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Ruske, and joining me today is my business partner and colleague, Andrea Henning.
Hi, everyone.
We're here today to provide another Tiara Talk. And this is an opportunity when we get together and we take a topic that we've been talking about behind the scenes and we bring it out into the light for everyone to share. Our topic this week is about fear. It's about how fear can creep into our lives every day, everywhere. And what do we do about it? And we're going to come at this from talking about fear in general, but then we're going to talk about, fear as it for how it can prevent you from leading your life, and fear as it relates to leadership in general. So that's our game plan today. And Andrea, anything else you want to add?
No, that's our game plan.
Good.
And we were just saying we have to watch our time because it's a juicy topic. So it
Yeah,
is.
this could be a 2 hour conversation, so we'll try to keep this pertinent and short. So fear, we've been talking about it behind the scenes all week. It just seems like there's something happening where things are just getting whipped up a little bit right now. Like, people are fearful of a lot of different things going on. So just talk in general, when we talk about fear, Andrea, what comes to mind? What do you start thinking about?
What I'm starting thinking about is that there are these triggers, and there are a lot of triggers right now to get fearful. So it's there all the time. We have periods where we are not as triggered as other periods, maybe, but it then grips us. It grips us, and like fear in its extreme is really unbearable. So that is how I experience that, and I will talk a little bit more about getting intimate with fear later.
Yeah. On the surface, when we're facing fear, we typically have a biological, response.
Mm.
Our system just responds. It's either fight, flight, or freeze, right? It's one of those three that, are just simplistically, that we can align behaviors with. But there's a lot that goes behind that because there's different degrees. I mean, I
Mhm.
was just in my car and somebody almost cut me off. And the bodily reaction when they
Mhm.
cut me off because we almost hit was like instant shock. Like
Mhm.
the fear, you talk about gripping, like you're
Mhm.
gripping the steering wheel and gripping the
Mhm.
fear. But that was momentary and
Mhm.
then it moved on, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that's not the fear we're talking about. So there
No.
is that fear, and we have
Mhm.
many opportunities all day
Mhm.
long to deal with
Mhm.
that, but we're really talking about the fear that prevents you from taking action, from doing what you think you want to do, what you know to do, and what you say you want in your life. Fear that's preventing you from moving forward. So let's
Exactly.
get into that gripping.
Let's
Let's
get
talk
into
about
that.
that.
Yeah, and the special thing is that I call that biggest fear. It is very personal. Your biggest fear is different than mine. There are these things that we agree on. I mean, being cut off in traffic and getting a shock, I would have the same reaction, the body reaction, which is a good one, which is also fear. That kind of fear is very productive because it can save your life. But there is this very personal fear that I was always saying is the backside of the same coin. So you have a coin with two sides. One is the fear. The other one is our biggest desire. Like,
Mhm.
what do we really desire? So when that is in jeopardy, then we are triggered on in our fear, and it's normally in our blind spot. The personal relationship, our personal biggest fear, is usually in our blind spot, and shining the light on that is pivotal. And for also for leaders to know that it's pivotal because it can bite you in the butt when you are not expecting it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When you say get intimate with our fear, that can
Mhm.
mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. I
Yeah.
know there's a lot of people out there who want to run away from their fear. And
Mhm.
and I don't mean that as bad. That's not a judgment. That's also a natural
Mhm.
reaction.
Mhm.
They don't want to face it. They don't know how to face it, or it feels too big to face. It
Mhm.
just,
Mhm.
they've tried it a couple times and they haven't gotten through it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
and I'm not sure I'm saying this right, but it seems like the only way, what was the phrase? The only way up is through. So
Yes,
there
yes.
is a belief that I know we hold that in order to move beyond what
Yeah,
we're experiencing, we actually have to go through it.
exactly.
Sometimes we can try to go around it, but when it's this gripping, when it's actually when you feel tethered,
Hmm.
to something, this gripping,
Hmm.
we don't believe you can go around it. We believe you have to actually experience, feel it, and go through it. So,
Exactly.
what are some of the things you can do to really be intimate with this? That's
Yeah.
kind of a nice way of saying,
It
get
is
into it.
absolutely. It is absolutely. And I mean, our whole concept of the three queens is includes that part. Our dark queens, like when we share it with each other, you have a different one than mine, and it points to our biggest fear, and it's a peeling process. So, first of all, getting intimate with our fear is knowing your dark queen intimately, and knowing when she shows up, knowing when we are triggered by it, and also knowing how we react to that. So the better you know what we call our dark queen, the more you can actually, when it's happening, you can distance yourself a bit and look at it. And as we talked before, it will never wear off. So when you are triggered in your biggest fear, it's not something that you can heal from, because it's the other side of the coin. But you can, um, by getting intimate, by knowing, you can know where it comes from. It is part of you. It is one of the deepest parts of you, so that you can say, oh, here it is again, here it is again. Hmm.
Yeah, and to people who are listening, and this may be a new concept or one that they haven't gone this deep into
Hmm.
before. When we talk about our dark queen, or sometimes people refer to it as your shadow side or
Hmm.
whatever, you usually can get at that by asking yourself, what are you compensating for, and what are you trying to avoid, and and those are usually triggers,
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
those things occur, when the things that you're trying to compensate for, or the things you're trying to avoid, when they occur, those triggers actually tend to pull you down and
Yep.
cause that reaction.
Hmm.
And when that occurs, that's the time, to me, when I hear you say getting intimate, that's the time that I hear embrace that, as
Hmm.
opposed to
Yeah.
push that away, or
Yeah.
boy, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to feel that.
Exactly.
Really
Exactly.
building up the muscle of staying there in that space of uncertainty and
Hmm.
concern, and
Hmm.
even a
Hmm.
little anxiety,
Hmm.
at that
Oh
point.
yeah, a lot of anxiety often. Being able to stay, and life happens to all of us. So we have these moments where there's no escape. Mm? And and then the beauty is it when you have gotten intimate with it, when you have learned to stay with it, knowing that it's the flip side of your desire. When the rubber hits the road in your life, you can actually stay in your skin, because you cannot run away. And I don't know, I know the feeling, and I know that you know the feeling, how it means to stay somewhere when everything screams in your being, in your body, in your emotions, to get you want to just
Go.
go.
Yeah. To run fast.
My goodness. And there's nowhere to run, and
Yeah.
that can be really, really painful, and even bring you to desperation. I call it unbearable. I mean, of course, you have to live through it, but once you can see what it is, you can bear it. You can witness it. You can distance yourself a little bit, and oh, this is happening. This is what triggers my biggest fear inside of what's happening. And then you will feel that you move through it. Time will literally take you through it, to another minute, to another hour, to another day.
What you just described there, I heard three steps. One is that you're shining a light on it. You're not
Mm-hmm.
running away from it. You're actually
Yeah.
staying with it, shining a light on it. And when you do that, it might not diminish it to the point where you feel good, but it helps to take some of um, that fear off of,
Yeah.
what's another
Mm-hmm.
word, like
The
that just
panic.
the
The
panic,
panic,
the
actually. Yes.
unknown, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But I also think it helps put it into reality, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed
Yeah.
to this fantasy fear,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this, hysterical, all the bad things, just
Yeah.
the insurmountable fear, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think then what I hear you saying also is it allows us to get to a point of acceptance because
Hmm.
you cannot take action, a solid, good action in that space.
Hmm.
You will
Hmm.
be frantically doing something,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
it's not a well thought out plan. It's not strategic. It's probably not going to break the cycle either, you know? So that's what I hear inside of that is you have to actually be with that to the point where you can start to embrace that level of acceptance that allows the fear to, I'm going to say diminish, because as you point out, it doesn't ever go away. It doesn't ever go
It
away.
doesn't wear off. It's when it's triggered in, I call it bullseye. So you can feel like you felt 20 years ago or 30 years ago,
Mhm.
and you think, oh, but I thought I was over that.
Yeah.
So the intensity is the same. The intensity doesn't wear off, but the how you move through it, the speed and the ability, that really makes it bearable.
Yeah.
And you're not so you. Sometimes I think we are afraid of the fear.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I know in leadership when we talk about this, I know, as a entrepreneur, as a business, leader, and I've always been on the, revenue generating side my whole career. This is the time of year that is exciting that you're finishing out the year, you're hitting goals, you're meeting plan, all that. But then you're looking to the next year like, I got to do this again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fear, that
Mm-hmm.
comes
Mm-hmm.
up. So that's a
Yeah.
personal fear.
Mm-hmm.
But if I were working with somebody who was expressing that fear in an unhealthy way, that would exacerbate my fear
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
instead
Mm-hmm.
of talking about it, showing the vulnerability, addressing, hey, this is tough every year. We have, to do this. There's a way to lead through the fear that you know it when you see it with good leaders. They're not running away from it. They're not, being frantic about it. They're addressing it. They're inspiring you to step in with them.
Yes.
And that's what I hope, this conversation will lead people with is that, every one of us is a leader. We lead our lives. We have an opportunity to lead every day in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have opportunities to lead others in a
Yep.
variety of ways. They don't have to just be formal. And, showing up and inspiring others is one of the best ways to address fear.
Yep. Exactly. Yes, I agree. Totally.
Great conversation, Andrea, as always. Pleasure.
Yes. I loved it. So thank you very much for listening. And yeah, we see each other next Friday probably.
Yeah. Have a great week, everyone. Take care now.
Bye. Bye.